All right, guys, welcome back to Iron Squid number 2 as we jump on in to our next game here between aLive and Quantix Golden. These two players duking out in the first game, looking a little bit shaky for poor aLive. Golden was just
Yeah,
resilient.
Golden again. It's this weird mix of like resilient plus. I mean, missing your 3/3 upgrades when you hit Hive Tech is kind of like, oh, that's mega bad because Zergling Ultralisk, Zergling Broodlord, whatever the case, the upgrades are going to heavily tip the balance in your favor. You think about the fact that each of those Broodlings is getting 1 damage upgrade. Like 1 additional damage per upgrade. You're almost doubling the damage of the Broodling by getting it from 0/0 to 3/3. So it's that sort of stuff that you just can't really afford to slip up on. So Golden, at the same time, though, is amazing at these tactics, just positioning himself properly, having the Brood Lords in the right place, attacking at the right place, expanding behind it. Really clean in that regard. But he still has 2 more games to go, and I'm worried he's going to suffer the same fate he did in round 1, where he did a stunning win and then loses the 2 consecutive games.
Potentially. Well, we'll have to see as we now load up onto Cloud Kingdom here for game number 2. We do have, spawning up to our top right-hand corner here as our red Zerg. He goes by the name of Quantic Golden.
And spawning down in Dat Dare bottom left from Team Fnatic, it is aLive. And you know, something that I think is quite funny is the number of tags that people are throwing on their names. I remember I was watching a replay of Idra, whose full name is E.G. Idra RC.
Yep.
My roommate comes in and says, "Who's Egadrark?" And I realized you can actually say that full name as a 3-syllable word, like Egadrark.
Yeah. I was pretty much... We had a similar thing at IEM Singapore, me and Artosis, we were talking about saying abbreviations, like saying acronyms, but like, you know, like MMA, like or JYP. So you got Ugjubruk, which doesn't really have the same impact as JYP RC,
Yeah.
but
Dude, I will say that is one of the funniest things about casting JYP. EGJYPRC. Man, do new people not get that? And it looks like right off the bat, whoa, aLive going for an aggressive proxy barracks to get spotted. And look at the answer from Golden. He's going to bring all these drones. aLive will no doubt cancel and expand behind. There is no way he can put up with this.
jeez, I saw the second SCV moving out. I was like, oh, okay, 11 racks, pretty much normal for what aLive does. And then Golden decides, oh yeah, that is pretty normal for what aLive does. So he pulls off. He doesn't respond sad about it at all. He just goes straight for a ton of drones. He doesn't want to have to deal with it. It is natural because he knows how practiced and how well versed aLive is, because that is so aLive.
Gosh, this is quite a difficult situation for, I actually think, Golden to recover from, because aLive is going to be playing in a pretty straightforward fashion. He just goes for the command center behind. Okay, look, even going once again boldly for Refinery and then Barracks. I mean, if you see that many drones pulled off, there's no way Lings are going to be out anytime soon. And the spawning pool will finish at 4:30 because it started at 3:25. So that is a 90-second late spawning pool. I mean, certainly the command center, you could argue the command center is late as well, but a normal barracks, then early expand command center, that ordinarily pops or starts building at like 3:10. So in fact, this is still early in the grand scheme of things. So it's actually funny the impact that little move had from aLive.
Yeah, it's very interesting indeed. It's something that you don't necessarily think about in the grand scheme of things, but when you look at it in a very detailed manner, all of these things add up to something much bigger. Because now aLive has that double SCV production going, and that grants him a great economical handle on this game, as long as, you know, Golden, you know, just... Unless he goes for some ridiculously quick third that no Zerg in their right mind could actually secure against a Terran in normal situations, then he'll be a little bit on the back foot.
So I think the correct move right now for Golden is to begin poaching forward with this Overlord and see if the early expand from aLive moves to the natural. Because if that's the case, the first round of Zerglings should likely, or the first Larva Inject should likely be a round of Zerglings. Will he have enough time to do that? Yeah, 40 seconds versus 60 seconds. Yeah, he'll actually be able to do a push with Zerglings. Yeah, a Zergling push would near kill aLive with the first round of Larva Injects. It'll line right up with the Zergling speed, and it'll line right up with the first 2 Hellions popping out, and at the very least do some damage. And you don't even need to build that many Lings.
Yeah, yeah. It's again the styles of Zergs that have come out nowadays. With there you go, there's the 16 Lings on the way. The styles of Zergs that have evolved nowadays, just going for these slight waves of aggression. The first time I really got full witness of it was, during like IEM Cologne, where you had Vortex just swinging crazily in and out of aggression into drones, into aggression into drones, and it's taken on huge forms and huge shapes recently that are very...
Here it comes. Here's the 16 Lings swelling. Just 2 Hellions, and look at this. They're going to get their vision right as these Zerglings... Oh! Swing around! Look at that play. What a move from Golden. On point in this match. But the Hellions do pull back. It looks like he saw something. He got the fear, but even if you make the right play, you're still running the risk of getting surrounded. Can he lift up in time? Absolutely not, but still, perfect lining up of those Lings. Not as much damage as could have been dealt.
Yeah, not too bad at all there. And for now, look at this. Blue Flame is on the way very, very quickly here for aLive. So he's going to swing into massive amounts of Hellions that could quite easily punish Golden if he's not very, very adamant about his Sim City, which is something that is so overlooked from time to time from Zergs. Very scary to do so.
I mean, we've especially seen it overlooked by Golden. I mean, he had his pool in a completely exposed position against Symbol's 9 pool in their game 3. Now, here, as we see these Hellions pop out, only just beginning the Evolution Chamber production. Only just now beginning his second gas in his main base. And there, he knows he's now have to get something to answer. An extra especial Blue Flame Hellion plate.
Yep, Blue Flame's very, very cool. As for now, double gases, double armory on the way here for aLive as well. Trying to run back away from these Zerglings where he can. And the Hellions just dancing around in the middle of the map. More Zerglings still swinging around for Golden, though, trying to go for some kind of counterattack. Surprised he's trying to make these Zerglings work as much as he is, considering the fact that there are so many Hellions on the map. But then again, he still doesn't know that there's double Hellion production going on. Oh, no, he does. He actually scouted that second factory with the tech lab, so scary stuff.
So we'll see Zerglings poking in at the front. Likely not to do some too violent of damage as they step in. I mean...
Oh my god, those Hellions.
Yeah, I saw the little blue dots on the minimap, and I was like, yeah, I think he's going to be fine. And they're just ripping down all the Zerglings. Now aLive, behind on supply, would like to make a big play here. And with only light units and queens, these drones are going to be lining up Killaris. They're pinned against the wall. But look at that. A nice answer. aLive will be able to do a loop around and swing back. And interesting attempts from Golden to make some Zerglings. That's actually a very impressive defense.
Thank God for Golden and his defenses in terms of the Sim City. If he hadn't have thrown up that Baneling nest in the position it was, as well as that Evolution Chamber, those Hellions would have got in and they would have done extra damage. And but then again, they could get more even damage done here at the third, catching some of those drones. They go down so quick. There's been 12 workers killed off thus far, but still,
Gosh,
I think
it's not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, this is looking kind of straightforward. And, in these games where it's a lot about mobility, I mean, the fact is the mech army will be, at all states and time, it's a death ball. If you ever engage it directly, you're probably going to come out heavily on the losing side of things as Zerg. So it becomes less about builds and more about free-form judgment. Certainly you're going to want your build to maximize the units you have at your disposal, but can Golden manage to get into a good position with some counterattacks? Is he going to be droning correctly? is he going to be able to do things like transition to drops, get Mutalisk, get more mobile units to pick away at these tank entrenched positions that we'll see set up soon?
Well, Sean, I think that if anything can come from game number 2, it's the fact that aLive going mech, for me, makes me giddy. The idea of going mech against Zerg on this map as well, it's a really, really nice option to go for. And
yeah,
I'm gonna love to see how aLive is actually gonna make this work out if he can.
Yeah, this is a map that works. It works well for all styles, but let's talk about why it works well for mech as well. You have the opportunity to take additional expansions pretty straightforwardly because even though there's a lot of attack paths, they're very constricted. Things like planetary fortresses, things like tanks, excellent blockers in spots like this. You can just planetary up your entrance to your natural.
Yeah.
You can easily rally towards the third, and the short distances help quite a bit. Also, there's so many counterattack paths that we see Hellions being able to sneak in, just like we're seeing up at the far north side of the map right now, heading up to the third base. But Golden's kind of on point with things.
Yeah, he really is. He's got just defenses everywhere he needs them to be, which is really cool for him. Especially the fact that it's just roaches. It just shuts down those aggressive moves very, very nicely. But look at this. He already getting Vengeful Sacks as well as Pneumatized Carapace. He's going to go for drops at some point. And he's building an army that is just predominantly roaches, which is actually pretty good against mech. So unless aLive gets a sick good engagement where his opponent like pushing into him, unless it's not Golden going for trades to keep his opponent's siege tank count down, then I think Golden's still in a pretty good spot here.
Oh, there's the drop play coming up. I'm looking at the Golden cam, and he's just using it to do a direct shove at the front. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Does he want to drop, or does he want to go straight into the main? It looks like he's heading towards the siege tanks. Oh! A really weak drop position. He's dropping right into the line of fire, and there the Blue Flame Hellions march right into the natural expansion. Golden suffering heavy losses. Tanks to the right, tanks to the left, and roaches dropping everywhere except on top of the tanks.
Yeah, that's what you need to be doing here. You need to be shutting down that distance super quick and killing them off so fast. He's done a little bit of damage, and technically he's keeping his opponent's tank count low, but still, I mean, there's still 26 workers killed off for aLive in comparison to only 8 for Golden, and he's picked up again, and once again, he's going to try and go for the drop.
Oh, this is a tough spot for Golden because you have 4 bases and not nearly enough drones to support all of them. Looks like he's decided to just try to blast in, but 1-1 upgrades are done, 2-2 nearing completion. Golden really needs to kill off a lot of workers here, not just these units. He's hanging out in the production centers, but he shouldn't be trying to engage the army directly. He needs to peel the army in wrong locations. He should have been pushing at the third right now. He's trying to pick off these supply depots, trying to pick off some of these Hellions at the front. This is a lot more like what he needs to be doing to succeed versus mech.
Zergling's now swinging in as well. That's really, really nice addition to this. I mean, the Hellions are there, and they're not really killing off the roaches that quickly. The unit counting station is 10 Hellions now, 2 Thors, 2 tanks, but it's really the 2 Thors and the 2 tanks that are doing all the damage here. And
yeah,
they're just not being dealt with.
Once again, we see Golden doing the same general misstep we saw him make against Symbol. He gets a window where he can do a little damage, and then we see him just rally units in, and look, 2 Zerglings head to the third base, and then realize, wait a minute, I've been attacking the natural expansion where all the units are popping out. I could have killed all those drones. So, kind of a painful realization moment for Golden, especially considering how many drones he's lost to those Blue Flame Hellions.
Oh, and slightly supply blocked here now with 3-3 on the way for aLive. He's getting out 3 more extra Thors. Yeah, that's a lot of roaches, but they still... I don't think they're going to be able to deal with the amount of Thors and tanks that are actually emerging right now. That's so much DPS that that aLive is going to have.
Ooh, this is looking quite brutal. We're seeing drops go down on everything, but the tanks are already pre-sieged. Oh, this is looking very, very sticky for Golden. He was ahead in supply. Now it's teetering back and forth. Can he manage to stay in line? I mean, is he putting any pressure on at the third base? It's almost completely undefended. Actually, the third is completely undefended. And meanwhile, aLive is just roasting drones for Golden.
Why not? Why not? These two Hellions here with 2-2 are just absolutely decimating any kind of drone count. 37 workers to 62 right now in favor of aLive. And with all of this constant aggression from Golden, he constantly pushes down an engagement place that isn't doing himself any favors.
The third and fourth are completely undefended, and that's where the income's coming from.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this stings to watch because Golden played such a marvelous match number 1.
And Golden's just going to pick it once again, drop more of the roaches on his opponent here. The Hellions and Thors trying to pull back to a more safe location, but he's 15 supply up on his opponent right now. He has Burrow, sure, but there's still enough to actually throw down a scan if he wants to and kill off a lot of this very quickly.
Brutal. Golden still not seeing that the third is open. I don't know what the adrenaline is telling him to do right now, but it is... Whatever it is, it's, man, if only I can break this, I'll be able to bust through. And this is the issue with mech. Even when it seems like you can easily break through and get some sort of winning angle, you can't. You need to have 2 to 3 times as many units as the meching army does. And there we see GG. Oh, that game hurt my soul to watch, James.
I can understand that, Sean. It's you've got to remember, guys, that Thors have the same health as a building. It's not like they go down too rapidly. And only with 1-1 against 2-2 and 3-3 already on the way there for that mech, with so many Thors, with siege tanks on high ground, you can't break that location. It's really difficult.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one thing when you see someone not looking for a hidden expansion and you're like, oh, I hope he sees it soon. That was the third base. That is one of the key targets in all of StarCraft 2 is denying third base, attacks at the third base. And sure, sometimes the main and natural end up being targets too, but to literally not check the third base is a painful little error. Now, Golden is not out. Golden still does have another game, but it hurts me because Golden won game 1 against Symbol, but then lost the next 2. It's a kind of similar situation, so I'm hoping that Golden can pull it together in game number 3. aLive played a great game, didn't forget to do counterattack harass of his own. In his initial harassment, he killed 12 workers. By the end of the game, he killed 48.
It was pretty impressive there by aLive to hold on. So, guys, we shall go to a commercial break, and then when we are back, game number 3 between aLive and Golden. Don't go anywhere.